Hi everyone. What I want to do is give you a quickie on this week's work. So when you go into your modules, your screen may look different than mine, because I got a lot more stuff. But when you go into your modules, the biggie thing here is that you have the Project 1 milestone, all right? And you can complete it in the VDI or you can complete it on your own. If you complete it in the VDI, make sure that you download it so that you have something to submit to me, all right? And if you don't, you'll have an Excel spreadsheet. So when you go into the milestone, it says complete the assignment. Remember that using the VDI, remember to save all your work to the OneDrive before exiting. You may choose to complete the assignment using the desktop program, which is fine with me. That's fine. But all of a sudden, there's nothing there, right? You need to go into the guidelines and rubrics. And it will give you everything you need to know, right? There's your overview of the project, and here's your directions. And you're going to use the Project 1 scenario, right? And you're going to do the Journal Entries tab, the Inventory tab. That's what you're going to do in here. But you need to download the appendix, I already have one open. It's going to open the second one for me. So the appendix gives you all the events. There are 26 transactions, okay, that have to be journalized. So the appendix gives you all of the events that have to be journalized. The T accounts infographic is really what it says. It's an infographic. What it is it gives you information that you might need. It's been a while, haven't done journal entries, okay. So here's your steps in the accounting process, the accounting equation, your assets, liabilities, owner's equity, how they fall, their normal or natural balances, whether they're debit or credit, right? When it increases, when it decreases, what to do. And it gives you a summary of debits and credits and the steps in analyzing each transaction. So when you look at each transaction, what accounts are involved? What are the classification of the accounts involved? Are the accounts increased or decreased? Is the equation in balance after the transaction has been recorded? Those are your questions. So this is a good thing to have with you while you're working on the project, okay? And the other thing you need is the Project 1 template. You cannot do this without the template. So the template is the blank spreadsheet, right? And you're going to get, let's go to the beginning. It starts with the chart of accounts. So here's all your accounts that you have: asset accounts, liability accounts, equity accounts, revenue, and expense. So when you ask yourself what account is being affected, these are the ones. There's a place here for all your journal entries, right? And look, there's even a nice little thing here that shows you how to increase and decrease. So if asset is increasing, we're going to debit it. If it's decreasing, we're going to credit it. So you have a nice little chart in there just to show you that, all right? So these are your journal entries. The second one is for after. You're gonna put the tab in here for me, and tab in here for me, right? You're gonna fill in purchases, price, number of items, and it should calculate, okay? But the corrected journal entries and the corrected inventory are gonna be what happens after I grade your stuff, all right? So you're going to hand me those two tabs, right? Because it says for this, let me get back to the milestone. You're going to give me the journal entries tab, and you're going to prepare all the journal entries. And like I said, there are 26 entries. And then you're going to prepare accurate journal entries with the correct ledger accounts on the inventory tab, and prepare the worksheet that reflects the products that were purchased and sold and the journal entries that are complete. There are 18 entries there, okay, that have to do with inventory. And you're going to submit to me the journal entries tab and the inventory tab. Ooh, there we go. Complete. That's what you need to submit to me for the first milestone. So the journal entries and the inventory. I will then correct your journal entries and your inventory. And then you will, if you're perfect, you don't do anything, right? And it will say that right on there, on the top of this. If you received a perfect score on your Project 1 milestone, shade the box green, it's done. You don't have to correct them. If you didn't, if I correct your journal entries here, and I will probably correct them on this side in red and send it back to you, then you need to create your corrected journal entries. Okay? It's the same with your inventory. If your inventory isn't correct, then I will correct it for you. All right? But if you got all perfect, you shade it green and be done. All right? So that's what you need to do for this week. And so you start with the first journal entry, and you start with the first. So the business owner loaned the company $10,000 at 4% interest annually to be paid in full in 3 years. And you determine what happened. So the business owner loaned the company $10,000. So the business got $10,000, but it was a loan. And so there's a loan. And so then we would go look at our chart of accounts, and we know it affects cash, right? We know that. But we'd have to look over here and say, oh, well, I don't know. It's probably a note payable. What do you think? And so there's your first entry. Is you debit cash, 10,000. You credit notes payable, 10,000. All right. And so you would enter into your cash, and you'd enter your value, which is 10,000. And in this one, we enter notes payable. And you'd enter 10,000. And then we have, we should have. We have our ledger accounts. And so you would go and enter your ledger account. So there's a 10,000 was the first entry here, and it goes into notes payable. So we need to find that one. And there we go. That date needs to be changed. Some of the dates are kind of funky. I have one of you already told me that, so I would just change the date. But it was in August 1st, right? So I go in the ledger account and notes payable, and I would go 8-31 instead of December, and I would enter the 10,000 here. Right? So now I've got it in the ledger accounts. If you don't put it in the ledger accounts, you're not going to be able to do a trial balance or anything later on. So, and then you just check all your ledger accounts to make sure that you're balanced. Okay? It's really simple. If you know you posted everything, then your journal entries should total at the bottom, and they should be equal. All right? And what you do, at least what I do, is you can check these off or X them when you post them. Okay? And this means that it needs a calculation. Generally, that's what that means, is that there's a calculation involved in that particular journal entry. But like I said, you can X them off once you get them into the ledger accounts. But don't forget to put them in the ledger accounts, because it will totally mess you up when time comes later that you need to do a trial balance, an income statement, balance sheet at the end. All right. So always, always, always post them. And of course, this journal entry had nothing to do with inventory, so there you go. All right. So it's just a heads up on what you need to download in order to do the project. All right. The supporting materials are all there. Just download them. All right. The rubric's there. It tells you what you need. But more important is that the spreadsheet's right there too. Okay. So there's your workbook and the nice little cheat sheet, T account cheat sheet, and then the appendix, which gives you all your journal entries to use. So just remember that and go through. Okay? Okay. And if we have problems with the inventory tab, just tell me and I'll see what I can do. Okay? So that's for everyone. Thank you.